just to prove to you that I don't have Hugo on the system, I'll just type Hugo serve right now. And you see the command not found, right?
Okay.
But if I run this flake, I'll do nix develop dot, and then it's going to just put me into a shell with whatever was parameterized in that flake. And now, as you see, as this Hugo is ready.
Man, the furries are going to come after me because I'm dissing on Nix and I'm dissing on Gentoo.
If you know me in real life, like I'm just going to tell you, just try Linux. It's going to be annoying. You know what I mean? Like if somebody says, hey, you know, my computer, this, that, and that, I'm like, oh, hey, have you tried Linux? They stop inviting me to hang out because that's all I talk about.
All of my friends, you know, they're my age and they play games. I don't know, they're my age, but mentally, they're not my age.
Yeah.
What's Red Hat? Yep.
So it's just proprietary garbage. I have to use Discord sometimes because it's proprietary garbage and then push a big update. So since it's proprietary garbage, I can't build it from source, right? So like, what do I have to do? It doesn't matter if Discord breaks. It's not going to ruin your workflow, right? Like that's just some proprietary garbage.
macOS, what are your thoughts there?
I mean, it's proprietary garbage. I have a lot of respect for that. You know, even though it's proprietary garbage, and when somebody says, hey, like, but this proprietary garbage that's not on Linux, compile something from source, unless it's proprietary garbage. But then for Davinci, I'm pretty sure that's proprietary garbage, right? Movies and stuff as proprietary garbage. Like, it's just...
I wanted a black one. Hold on. No, that's not what I meant.
If you're listening to this as a podcast, remember that it was originally recorded as a video. If you're not following along, you can go to my YouTube channel. My username is Linkarzu. And if you want to support me to keep this podcast going, you can donate in Ko-fi. I'm going to leave a link in the description. All right, so let's get started with this chapter then.
I've seen a lot of your videos where the beginning is usually like a teaser of a funny part or something like that, you know? So I've seen, I know your formula. It's good. It's actually smart. It's smart for sure. There's going to be a lot of funny parts, dude. Like, it's going to be casual, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it should be the best parts of the videos, but I just put what makes me laugh. And it's usually really dumb stuff. And people's like, why did you put that there? That's not even relevant, but it's just stuff that makes me laugh. Okay, so what do we got today? Tony, how's it going, man?
Hey, how's it going? So should I call you Christian or Link?
You can call me Link. I decided a few videos ago, you know, I don't know when I decided that I'm going to call myself Link from now on because everyone asks me how. No, Link, that's it. It's simpler.
It's done. All right. So I'm going to call you Link forever because I think it's easier to say, first of all, number one. And number two, it's kind of your personality, like your persona is Link. I like that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Link, thanks for having me on the show today. I'm really excited to get into a lot of these topics.
No, thanks to you, man. This is actually a special moment because it's the first time that you're showing your camera on YouTube. Well, you did it in a live stream, but you unlisted that live stream, right? Did you remove it? Yeah.
I didn't remove it. I unlisted it, but yeah.
Okay. So first time, are you planning on showing your face on future videos or you're going to remain like a faceless channel?
Yeah. I mean, for me, the faceless thing is more like out of a pragmatic reason is that when I show a tutorial of something, the face literally just gets in the way. And I do see that a lot of YouTubers have their face as more of like a personality thing so that their channel can follow them and kind of relate to them. But I think with the technical videos, I think a lot of the times the face kind of gets in the way. But there might be something in the future where I'll do more of a less prepared video and just maybe turn the camera on and start talking. But for now, I'm more focused on just like the deep dives and the deep technical style.
Oh, okay. Okay. So appreciate you being here, Tony. And I see your channel here. You talk about a lot of what is this? Linux related stuff, right? Let me switch to my camera so we can show your channel. And I see that you have just a few videos and you have a lot of subscribers, man. Like, how did this happen? When did you start YouTube? Why? And what do we expect to see in your channel?
Yeah. So I started uploading this year, literally. I think the first video I posted was like an Arch Linux video. If you click oldest, you'll see it was like a voiceless, just me installing Arch with no wiki. And I saw it and I thought, you know what, let me actually put a voice to this. So I made an Arch Linux installation video and kind of a clickbait thumbnail title, you know, stop using Ubuntu, a little bit of a, you know, maybe get people a little bit angry. What's wrong with Ubuntu? You know, click the video and then it turns out to be like a pretty, people liked it, kind of went up. It it kind of got like pretty good views. And then I started deciding, hey, maybe I'll make some more. And I got a lot of positive comments. And then so I made that Gentoo video, and that one blew up. So I just looked at all the comments, and people kept saying, hey, like, this is dope stuff. You only have 2 videos. Like, please make more videos and stuff. So I kind of just from there made one, made a video here, made a video there, and that's kind of where I'm at now. I mean, it's kind of getting pretty big, and I do want to get as much information out there as possible to the Linux community and like the free and open source software community. So, yeah.
There's beef going on with the Ubuntu and the Linux community. Is that right or not? Because I have interviewed a few of the Linux guys, and nobody seems to like Ubuntu. What's going on there? Like,
yeah. So, do you mean from a technical perspective, or are you talking about from like a drama perspective?
I don't know if it's about drama or what it is. I guess it's because of Canonical. Is that why? Or
yeah. So a lot of people discuss like the company that owns Ubuntu is Canonical, and some people don't like what they do as a company. But also there's other things that are going on with Ubuntu. I think they're trying to adopt a Rust utility instead of GNU utils. I'm not sure if that's even like adopted yet, but I know that's something people talked about. And that's licensed under something that's not the GPL. I think it's the MIT license, but you can fact check me on that. But that's such a nuanced thing that has it's not in scope at all for like the video that I made about it. But yeah, these are actually interesting questions because it's stuff that doesn't really to be honest with you, I don't really care if it's like Canonical, if it's, whatever. I just care if the software is like free and open source, or if it's, convenient and if it's good, and then I'll make a video about it if I like it. So, but yeah, if there's beef about somebody using Ubuntu, I think it's like usually a tribalistic thing, because some people say, hey, I love Ubuntu, that's my tribe, or I love Arch Linux, or I love macOS, or I love Windows, don't insult my tribe, and then they take it personal. You know what I mean?
Yep. I see that Ubuntu is used a lot in the professional world. A lot of the servers that I have dealt with in the past are Ubuntu, but maybe it's not that popular on the desktop side of things. Could that be a thing?
It's possible, yeah. I think the biggest thing I would say about Ubuntu is that they switched over from GNOME to GNOME 3 or whatever, like a long time ago. And it just wasn't like a big decision that a lot of people liked. But Linux Mint came out a little bit after, and I think a lot of people switched over to Linux Mint because it's basically like a better version of Ubuntu because it uses Cinnamon. And if you go on DistroWatch, you see it's like the most popular Linux distribution. So a lot of people come over from Windows to Linux Mint now instead of Ubuntu. But on servers, Ubuntu and Debian are pretty much the king. So
yeah, yep, those are the two that I see. Debian, Ubuntu. I see a lot of Amazon Linux now. Well, at least the company that I was in before, they use a lot of Amazon Linux servers, and I was like, but why? Why don't we use Debian?
You know why?
Yeah,
you absolutely know why.
Yeah,
but I think the Amazon Linux package manager is the Red Hat package manager, I believe.
Yep.
I could be wrong about that.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
What's Red Hat? Yep.
So it's just proprietary garbage.
Yeah. So why did you decide to start a channel, Tony? 8,000 subscribers. Man, you even have more subscribers than I do, and you have like 18 videos only. Why did you decide to start this? Like, was this I want to have fun. I want to share about the stuff that I know that I don't see content out there, or what was the reason?
Yeah, so maybe 10 years ago, I used to make videos, maybe even longer, about World of Warcraft, just like super fast clips of some high action moments, or maybe CS2, CSGO 1.6. And I would never share them. I would just like show them to my friends and stuff. And so I had like video editing experience from like back in those days. And then fast forward a lot later, like I started looking at a lot of these Linux videos just because some of my friends say, hey, how do I install Arch Linux? And sometimes it's easier to just give them a video, be like, hey, check out this video. You might be able to just follow it and do it. And I couldn't find like that many good ones. I did find a really good one actually from a guy named Davinci. Give him a shout out if you want. His video was really, really good. And I think it was like super calm, super relaxing, kind of my style. And so I just ended up using that guy's video and sharing it to all of my friends who ever had the question, hey, how do I, install Arch Linux? And then finally I decided, hey, why don't I make my own video kind of like this? And just that way I have my own video and just I can share that with my friends. And that's really how it started. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. And just so we get to know you a little bit more, Tony, do you want to share about your background? Basically, like what did you study, who you are? I don't know, technical related background. Did you start with programming? Are you a programmer? Are you a DevOps guy? You want to share that with us?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm a full stack software developer. Like that's my day job. But yeah, I studied math and computer science. I've just been involved. I've been interested in tech or like just for a long time, pretty much my whole life. My dad owned a computer repair store, so he would have just parts lying around the house, and I would just try to build a computer like that would work before he would be able to like get rid of whatever parts, and just so I could play like some browser game for the weekend or whatever. And that's kind of where it started for me. And yeah, nowadays it's just kind of the same thing. I just like doing things my own way. You know what I mean?
And why did you start, or what's the operating system that you started with? Did you start with Linux, or were you a Windows guy in the past?
I think the first operating system I ever like touched would have had to have been Windows. I'm trying to think. It was I want to say it was Roller Coaster Tycoon was the first thing, or maybe it was a pinball game. I don't know. Do you remember that pinball game on Windows?
Yep.
Like that was built into that must have been the first thing I touched on a computer.
When we used to have like the media player with you remember the animations and the skins, the media player skins. There was an alien one.
Yeah, that was a good time actually. That pinball game was really fun actually. I remember that. Mm-hmm. And I think I used a Windows computer like at my parents' house like growing up for like PowerPoint presentations for school and stuff. Like I vaguely remember putting like PowerPoint presentations on floppy disks and stuff like that and bringing it to like school. But yeah. Basically like how I got into Linux though, it's kind of standard. It's very similar to like a story you may hear from, a lot of these other people, is that I was at my dad's house and I wanted to play like a browser game. I think it was either Neopets or RuneScape at the time. And his computer that he had, that he let me use, was just so bloated on Windows and I couldn't even open a browser. So he said, hey, take this DVD. It's Ubuntu. I must have been 13, maybe 12, 13 years old. He told me to put Ubuntu on this computer. So I put it on and I was just amazed that like this computer went from unusable to now I can open a browser and play RuneScape or play, even Neopets or whatever. So just from there, I was just like blown away by that. And then, one thing led to another. And then I start seeing you can just literally type like sudo apt install name of program. And I'm thinking, wait, you can just do that? You don't have to go to the Internet Explorer, click the exe file, download it, make sure it's not bloated, and then, run it, etc. So I don't know if you ever had like any kind of relation to that, but yeah, that's kind of where my Linux started, I guess.
Okay. Linux. Okay. And did you ever go back to Windows or Linux, and you've been on Linux ever since?
Yeah, I mean, I ever since that, I guess I was 13 is when I used Ubuntu. I kind of got deep in the weeds of like, okay, how do I make this even better? And some guy on IRC recommended that I should use Gentoo. And at the time it was like, what's Gentoo? I don't know. I'll try that out. And so, I learned how to like, it took me a long time, but I installed Gentoo and then ended up compiling Firefox with like very minimal use flags. And it was even like, it was barely faster than the Ubuntu Firefox, but it felt like really awesome. I told all my friends that I was like, oh, I'm using Gentoo, by the way. Like, I'm 15 years old or whatever. And they don't know what that is. They don't care. But like, yeah, I definitely returned to Windows because my older brother would play Diablo 2 and like Warcraft 3 and stuff. And like, that's all you can only use that stuff on Windows, right? So I would use his computer and like log on to like Starcraft. I definitely played a lot of Starcraft on his computer. And then that's kind of what got me into NeoVim. But I think maybe segue into that later. But yeah.
Okay. Now, the title of this video is NixOS Hype, right? Because you're here, and this is year 2077, by the way, if you see the video title, right? So we're in the future, man. So I want to know about Nix. How did you start with Nix? Like, do you do distro hopping a lot, and then you ended up in Nix, or how did that happen?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Let me ask you a precursor before I answer. Do you think Nix is hype, or is it just more of a question that's you're kind of putting it out there because you're curious, like how I'll answer it? And not in a bad way. You don't need to give if it's negative or positive, but do you see a lot of hype around NixOS, like on YouTube, popping up all the time?
Oh yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
And I get it recommended a lot because of the type of content that I make. It's like
Yeah.
I configure my Mac with a script. I run it and it just configures everything. It's not, in code. So if I make a change, it's still kind of a manual process still, but
Mhm.
it works. So because of that, people is always like, you should try Nix. And it's like, should I try Nix? And there's a lot of macOS users that actually use Nix. I don't know if this guy, what's it called? DevOps Toolbox, another YouTuber.
Yeah, he uses Nix. He uses the Nix package manager on macOS.
Mm-hmm. So I see it a lot. I see it being recommended to me, and I'm like, is it really worth it? Like, should I give it a try, or it's not for me? What do you think?
Well, I'm going to give you two answers because one is going to be personalized for you, and then the other one's going to be for your audience.
Mm-hmm.
For you personally, I'm going to say it's probably not worth it, just because I know how much time you put into what you do and how customized your Mac setup already is. It might be worth it as a fun little, hey, I'm going to open up a VM and try NixOS, and that could be cool. But it's not probably something that you should. I don't think it's going to be worth it for you because, like I said, your customization on your Mac is already so dialed that you'd probably rather spend a little bit of free time you do have, being productive, right?
Yeah.
Not setting up another environment. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But I think a more general answer for people that are go ahead.
That's one of the things that holds me back because I have put, like you said, way too many hours into this. It has been years that I have put into figuring all of this stuff out, and coming up with the method that is just going to allow me to set up my Mac, a new Mac, fast, right?
Right.
And
right.
I know that Nix is gonna be even more difficult than NeoVim, and NeoVim has been a pain in the deep.
You know what? Yeah.
So I'm scared, actually. I'm scared because it's going to be a time sink, I think. I'm not sure, but I know that it will be a long time and it's just going to be months of work.
Yep. Well, because we're in 2077, right? So you figure let's say you get to a situation where you're less busy, maybe in 2090 or something.
Uh-huh.
I think you're probably going to because Nix will be the only operating system at that point in time. So you'll be forced to adopt it, right?
Uh-huh.
So I think by the time it gets to that point, you won't have a choice, but you'll be ready for it. You know what I mean? Because you'll have me as a resource, you'll have Vimjoyer, you'll have other people out there as resources to just get you involved. Mm-hmm. So, happy to help you out as needed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think in general for people that have a little bit more time, because I know you're super hyper focused on productivity and stuff, and I don't know, I think you have barely any free time, right? Am I fair to say that?
Yeah, correct. With work-related stuff, I just started working at a new company. I have to do the videos, interviews, editing, a lot of stuff. So I don't have a lot of time, to be honest. Yep.
Yeah. I think you should spend your free time on stuff you enjoy. And if the thought of ricing a Nix compilation or whatever, it doesn't sound fun to you, don't even touch it.
Yeah.
But I think for personal recommendation to everybody else, I would say, it's absolutely worth the hype because of three different things. I think number one is that it's agnostic to the operating system, kind of as you said. You can use Nix packages on any operating system. So that's part one. Number two, I think, is more so because it's declarative, it's a declarative operating system, like you said already too. So this helps if you have multiple machines and you have a setup that works for you and you know it, you can always just take that config file, that repo, and drop it into another machine and it'll be exactly as you expect, right? Or you can give it to somebody else and say, hey, this is my operating system. And it's just a Nix flake or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And so that I think is the future. And then I guess part 2A or 2B, if you will, because there's three parts, is that it's it's like if Arch and Debian had a son, that it would be NixOS, right? That would be, Debian is the king of stability. Arch is the king of bleeding edge. You combine that and you get Nix. That's kind of where I'm at with it. But, yeah, number three is Nix development, Nix shells. And I think we're going to get into that a little bit later because I have a demo later for you and I'll show you kind of instead of just talking about it, I'll just show it to you later. But yeah.
Okay. And regarding Nix, Nix as well. How easy is it to deploy something? Because I've heard that if you want to make a change, you need to compile something. Nowadays, if I need to make a change, all I do is, let's say that I add a new package. I just add it to a brew file, and I know that when I install macOS in the future, that is going to install the package because I added it to my brew file that I have in my dots, right? I don't need to compile anything, nothing. Like, how easy is it to make changes when you are rolling with Nix?
I don't know exactly like what the workflow is for brew. Like, I know you can run brew and then like brew install like NeoVim or whatever, and you can just brew install packages.
Yep.
But I don't know like what you're referencing. Are you talking about like a declarative file that has like all of your programs where you can just kind of reproduce it on a different MacBook if you want?
Yeah, like this, for example, right?
Yeah.
I have a setup script and I specify like the repos at the top and the packages that I want to install. Like, for example, today I installed Treesitter CLI. So I just add it to this file so that I know that when I deploy a new Mac, the install script is gonna grab this entire file. It's just a brew file that I stored here, and it's going to install all these packages, bind, Helm, Kubernetes CLI, and I have different ones. This is on the essential file. I have other ones like nice to haves, optional. I just have all of my packages here pretty much, basically, but preparing myself.
Do you mind if I ask you? Go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
I was like, do you mind if I ask you like what you know what a Myers-Briggs personality type is? Like the 4-letter, like, ENTP or whatever. Ever heard anybody say that, like ENTP, INTP?
Nope, no.
Okay, we'll talk offline about it. I'm curious because you seem like a very organized person, so I think I could predict what your Myers-Briggs is. So maybe we can talk about that offline, and I'll tell you the prediction. But based on what you just showed me, I do have a question for you. Like, how do you know what version? Like, you had FD, you had FZF, like you had all those packages. How do you know what version is going to be like installed on the new Mac?
Oh, the latest.
The latest?
Yeah, I don't care too much about it. When I decide to set up the new Mac, it's just going to install the latest version at that time.
Yeah, of every package?
Of every package, that's right.
So, like, what happens if, hypothetically speaking, let's say something that depends on FD, like it depends on FD being at version 3.0, but the latest version of FD is like version 3.3, and then that other package breaks because FD is.
Okay. Yep. I think that macOS dependencies, each package is its own thing and it has its own dependencies built in. I'm not exactly sure. It hasn't happened so far. I've been using macOS for 4 or 5 years. I haven't had that issue, so I don't worry about it too much, to be honest.
Right.
Yep.
So the reason I ask is because Nix allows you to do what you just said, but you can pin everything to a specific version. So let's say you had that whole file. You could do that in NixOS with a flake and then pin every single one of those files to exactly the version that they are at the day you make that file. So let's say I dropped into my file. You could say, okay, now I'm not only on every package that he's on, but I'm on every version of every package that he's on. So I know it'll work. So now that may not sound like a big deal, like on a desktop machine, right? But that's a huge deal on like a server. Yeah. So if you want 1,000 servers that are all guaranteed to be on the same stuff, like I think Nix will be replacing like Ansible and all that stuff. Like Nix is, I feel like I'm a shill for Nix, but Nix is basically the end game of, I don't even want to say Linux, it's the end game of life. You know what I mean?
Okay, but what about, because I have Debian servers running here, right?
Yeah.
A lot of servers. And I run Docker Swarm in all of them. I don't care about the packages that are running on the server itself. I just run, sudo apt update and upgrade once every few months, just to update security stuff in Debian. But all of my actual applications are running as Docker containers, on the server.
Yeah.
So I don't care about what's in the underlying system too much because everything is running Docker. Or let's say that you run Kubernetes, for example. You don't care too much about the base, because you're not going to install WordPress directly as a package on the host, right? You're going to run it in a container.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So you can do that. I mean, I keep saying like, I feel like I'm a Nix shill. You can do that in Nix with like a Nix dev shell. I mean, it's not exactly the same thing, but you can pretty much do that. You can containerize Nix and stuff. But no, I think if you're hosting Debian servers, like you're already past the conversation of should I use Nix? Like you've got your workflow dialed. You know what I mean? Like you've got your Kubernetes, you've got your Dockers. Like if it isn't broken, don't fix it. That's kind of my mindset, right?
Okay. Like how difficult is it to compile Nix? Like if you make a change, do you need to do something for it to recompile, or it's not too complicated?
It's similar to like, yeah, that's one thing that a lot of people don't like about Nix desktop. Like on Arch Linux, I know you set up Arch Linux recently, like on a stream. I kind of tuned in and saw you doing that. So you're familiar like how easy it is to install a package. It's just like your Mac, right? You just brew install or pacman install or whatever. On NixOS, like you have to add it to a config file and then like rebuild your system, or you have to enter a shell with that package. So it can get tedious a little bit at first, but once you have your system dialed, it pays off in dividends. I think it's one of those. That's why people don't like it. I think at first you're front loading a lot of that time. I guess people don't like that.
Okay. Awesome. Now, let's see. Is there something else that you want to talk about Nix? Anything you want to share about Nix?
I feel like I'm a Nix salesman at this point, but no, I would just say I like NixOS a lot. It's definitely like one of the best distributions of Linux, and I'm barely starting the journey of it, and I'm trying to get a lot of information out there. You know, I see a lot of people telling me, "Hey, this doesn't work on Nix for me," and I've got it to work on my Nix system, so I just make a video about it. You know what I mean? Or I'll make an article about it, or I'll just talk about it. And you know, a lot of people out there that know a lot about Nix, you know, they say, "Hey, you're trying too hard to make Nix work," and I'm like, "Okay, that's fair enough." You know, just use. At the end of the day, I won't tell anybody to use Nix because I think you should use what you think is best for your setup. That's how I feel, right?
Mm-hmm.
But one more thing about the Nix versus Mac thing, like if you ever end up being somebody who cares about like, I don't know, free software or like your machine not being able to be like fixed manually and stuff like that, you know what I mean, with all that stuff, then you should switch on over to a ThinkPad and hop on Nix, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'll keep it in mind. If I ever decide to leave Mac OS, of course it would be Linux, some Linux related distro. I don't know what. I don't know if I'm ever going to leave Mac OS or not. It happened to DHH, and he was like the biggest Mac OS fan, you know, but
yeah,
it happened that I get the what is it, fold removed from my eyes.
Blindfold, yeah. The blindfold.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know, man. So what would you say the best distro is? Nix?
Again, it's more going to be like, what is your use case? And so like, if you're a guy who just has a server and you just want it to run forever and you have Debian on it, Debian doesn't update their packages. Like every 2 years they update their packages, you know? But if you're somebody who wants like bleeding edge, everything every day, I mean, I would say Arch, Artix, that kind of stuff, you know, but, or Nix. So Nix solves both issues, you know what I mean? So I would say if you had to ask me gun to my head, what's the best Linux distribution? I would say NixOS for sure.
Okay. Now, I'm confused about Debian and Arch because I'm all in for stability, you know, always.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why you would run Arch then. Like, okay, so you need the latest and greatest. And I'm like, but why? Why do I need the latest and greatest? If it works, if I install OBS and it works, why do I want to update frequently? So I don't get the point of Arch. Can you just explain to me, like a 5-year-old, like, what's the benefit of Arch? Does it break? Is it good?
Yeah, there's like 3 or 4 things we can jump into. First thing I'll say is kind of a weird thing, but like when you load up an Arch, let's just install Arch, and you just load up like a window manager, you don't need to mess with the policy kit at all. And what I mean by that is like, let's say you plug in a like external hard drive into your machine on Arch, out of the box, pretty much their policy kit stuff is set to where you can just open whatever's on that like hard drive without having to check a policy or, you know, set up a policy kit or whatever. But on Debian, like it's an administrator. I think it's a sysadmin distro, really. So like they're gonna make sure you have to like set up a policy kit and, you know, do all this, that, and the other just to open up an external hard drive. But that for me is like already enough friction to call it like, you know, what, I don't need to fight my operating system. I'm gonna use that a lot today. I don't want to fight my operating system, right? So if I'm on Debian and I have to like tell a policy kit to say, hey, you know, allow me to open my hard drive because it's me using my desktop, I'm not gonna be happy about that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But yeah, a couple other things is that for Arch, like there's the package manager for Arch by default, like just Pacman itself already has like packages that are 7 or 8 to 9 to 10 months ahead of Debian. But the AUR also exists and it has like community, you know, packages and stuff that are, you know, you can download it from there. I don't even use it. I just use, if I'm on Arch, I just use Pacman. I just try to get what's on the default repo. Like I don't want to mess with anything that's not, if it's not on the repo, I just don't want to use it. So it's like for Debian, and that with that principle being said, like I'm forced to use NeoVim version 9 because it's the only thing on the repo. And for me, if I have to go on Debian 13 and literally git clone NeoVim and then build it from source, like what am I doing? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have installed packages on Debian servers because that's the only thing that I use. And when I go sudo apt search for a package and the version is quite old, and I'm like, sometimes you need to add additional repos to be able to install the latest package. Just like, for example, if you install Kubernetes, it's not gonna be in the Debian repo, so you have to go and get the Kubernetes repo. That way you can do the GPG signing and all that stuff, and then you can download the packages. So
right.
It's
right. I think there's a conspiracy theory about Debian, and I'm kind of curious your thoughts. Like I hear people say Debian is the peak of stability, right? I hear everyone always say that, but no one ever asks that question back to them. Why? They never say, "What? Why do you think that?" I think it's something that's just repeated over and over again. Hey, Debian is the most stable distribution. Like it's the king of stability. But I always want to know like what. And I'll throw it back to you. Actually, I'll kick it over to you. What is it about Debian that makes you feel secure and feel stable on it?
That I do updates, and it just, updates the security stuff that I need so that I'm secure, and the packages that I have running don't break. And that's what I care the most on servers. I have never used it on desktop, so I have no experience there at all.
Yeah.
So I would guess it's because of when you update it, it's just going to keep working. You don't want to invest time in fixing dependencies after you done update. It's a critical, device that you need to have. You just set and forget. You don't want to deal with it. You don't want to touch it. You just set it up, forget about it. Just stay there, in the dust, in a corner. I don't care about you. Just work the whole time. I would say that's the answer. What do you think?
No, I think that's a good answer actually, because if you're using it for like production or if you're using it to make money or whatever, like you don't want some stupid package update to like stop you from making money. But if you're somebody like me, I just don't update packages that I don't need to update. I don't know. It's kind of weird, but I just update whatever I need to update. So it's like, I'm not going to just run a blanket, like update every package on my system. You know what I mean? Like I've done that too many times to where like all of a sudden on my production machine or whatever, like, oh no, I can't do anything on my production machine because I accidentally.
It sucks, yep. And I'm not doing that. Can you update only security related stuff and not mess with the other packages in Arch, for example?
Yeah, you definitely can. But also, like going back to Nix, because I'll use an excuse to go back to Nix at any point
No, it's
in time.
Good. We're all going to learn about Nix. That's the purpose of the call. You have to sell us on Nix, so we switch to it.
Exactly. Going back to Nix, you can choose like different versions, like of the package manager. So you can say, and this might be something that you can relate to. I have to use Discord sometimes because it's proprietary garbage, but it's a way to like speak to people like that about Linux
in the
or
real world.
Whatever.
Yeah. Except for Joshua Blais, if you ever watch this, he has me go into Signal because he doesn't use Discord and he uses IRC, or I don't know what was used in the 50s or whatever it was. So he doesn't use Discord. And if I want to talk to him, I have to go into another app But yeah, you use Discord. You're a little bit more modern than him. Yep.
Yeah, I don't like that I use it, but it's a trade-off. You gotta like understand. You have to use proprietary software sometimes, right? So, but that being said, Discord has these random updates like every other day for some reason, because the people that work there must have to like validate their job's existence or something like that. So they're going to update like some stupid icon or something like that, and then push a big update. So since it's proprietary garbage, I can't build it from source, right? So like, what do I have to do? So
wait.
I have to either wait. Well, I have to either download the .deb file if I'm on Debian, and then just like install it every time I get an update. But on Nix, you can tell your operating system, hey, some packages, just let it be unstable. I don't care. Because but then for the core utilities, I want them locked to be like on the stable repo. So that way, every time you update your system, let's say you want to update Discord, it doesn't matter if Discord breaks. It's not going to ruin your workflow, right? Like that's just some proprietary garbage. You might not be able to talk to your friends for a couple of days, but like that's actually probably a good thing. Maybe you get more stuff done, right?
Yep.
But like if your firewall breaks, or if like your glibc breaks, like you know what I'm saying? Like you're not going to have a good time, right? So it's like, I think Nix is really good for that because, like I said, you could specify certain packages to kind of be your YOLO, like let me update unstable, and then you can pin like your Debian packages to like the stable branch. I think that's like a big selling point for Nix.
Okay. I've heard about this other distro as well called Gentoo, And it's similar to Nix for me. Is it hype? Is it actually useful? Because I don't understand what the purpose of Gentoo is, man. The furries are gonna come after me because I'm dissing on Nix and I'm dissing on Gentoo. I'm not doing
Yeah.
it in a bad way. I just want to educate people that watch this and to understand, because you hear it a lot. And if you install Gentoo, you're like a king, like the way you did it when you were 15. You said, right?
Yeah.
So, what are the benefits? Is it performance? Is it what is it? I want to know what is it about?
Yeah, so I think right now there's this kind of double-edged sword, or like maybe a paradigm of like Gentoo is either needed but not usable, or not needed and incredibly usable. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
I'll elaborate. So Gentoo allows you to add like use flags and make opt, so that every time you build a package, it let's say you want to build Firefox, right, and compile it from source. You can tell your Gentoo to say, hey, I want Firefox, but I don't want any Bluetooth support on it. And that makes it a tiny bit smaller than a Firefox binary that comes with Bluetooth support on the box, right? But let's say you're somebody who never uses Bluetooth. You don't need Bluetooth, right? So you start seeing where I'm going with this. You add and you remove and remove and remove everything you need from Firefox. And all of a sudden you've got this super minimal Firefox that actually is very, very it's a little bit more efficient than the binary that you maybe get off the Debian repo. And then that allows you to, in my case, allows you to play RuneScape or Neopets or whatever, like on a machine that maybe doesn't handle like the full version of Firefox, right? So that would be like a use case for its existence. Now, we live in 2099 or whatever, so everybody's machine is like a hog beast. They can do whatever they want on it. So it's kind of like they don't really need to do that anymore, but it's a beautiful concept, and it's still a distro that I think is worth checking out, and I still use it. So it's like I got many machines, and one of my machines is going to be on Gentoo for its entire life, right? So it's like it's got a good place in my heart. You know what I mean?
So it's more than related to old hardware, so that you can use an operating system decently in old hardware. Would that be a use case?
Definitely. But the problem there is that if you're on old hardware, like your JFlags are like, it's going to take you a long time to compile this software, right? If you're on like old hardware. So like that's why I say if you're on brand new hardware, you can compile software really fast, but you don't need to optimize these stuff. You don't need to be compiling them with all these crazy use flags. But if you're on old hardware and you actually want to use Gentoo because you want, hey, I need like to make it super effective, it's just going to take you days and days to compile like just a basic package. You know what I mean? So it's one of those double-edged swords, but I definitely recommend it for people that think installing Arch is hard. You know what I'm saying? Because I was, like I said, I was like 13 or 14 when I installed Gentoo, and I kept hearing it Arch Linux is like the new wave, and it's like so hard to install. And it kind of actually made me afraid of it. I was like, oh, I don't want to touch that. And then when I finally sat down years and years later and installed Arch, I'm like, that's it. It's like 10 commands and I'm done. That's it. Like, no, like I don't have to update my world set. Like that's it. I'm good to go. Like I'm just ready. So it was interesting, it'll battle test you for sure.
I see. Okay. Yeah. Who is Gentoo for then?
I would say if you're a tinkerer and you want to just like learn about Gentoo, definitely install it on a VM and just enjoy it. Just like the process of installing it. Also, I've had some people tell me recently that they will install Gentoo because they actually want the packages to take forever to compile, because they want to step away from their computer and like go touch grass. So a lot of people are telling me like it's the touch grass distro. But yeah, I would say if you have like a piece of old hardware that you want like specifically, you're 1%, you're like in the 1% right there if you actually need Gentoo. You know what I mean?
And is it going to increase your cool factor? Is it going to make you look cool and smart?
If you post a screen fetch of Gentoo somewhere, like you're instantly going to get respect. People are going to say, "Oh wow, he installed Gentoo." But like, I don't know. It's if you care about that, I feel like I was just going to say if you care about that, I feel like you got to check your priorities. You know what I mean?
Okay. Now, I also wanted to ask you about the other two operating systems. What are your thoughts on a Unix distro? We could say that is the Linux distro that every other Linux distro always wants to be, macOS. What are your thoughts there?
I mean, it's proprietary garbage. I don't know what else to say. I mean, it's just a lot of things about. I mean, let's just like decouple the operating system from the company. Just so many things that the company does just makes it so hard to want to actually ever use that software, because they planned obsolescence and they do things that make it like you can't. They ruin your right to repair. You know, I mean, and the problem is that it's a genius business plan, right? Like if you tell somebody, hey, you can't change your RAM anymore, guess what? Now ThinkPads come out of the box and you can't upgrade that RAM either because it's soldered, because they said, hey, that worked for Apple. So
yeah, let's do the same thing. Yep.
So genius business plan, but in my opinion, like it's not something that helps the user like me, because I'm somebody who wants to be able to like do whatever I want. And now the way you use Mac is way different than the way most people use Mac, right? Most people use Mac and they are laying on their bed and watching Netflix on their MacBook, and then they you know, that's whatever, right? But yeah, I would say you're a Mac power user, so it's a little bit different.
Yeah, but you have a point there, because I had an M1 Mac, you know. It was a Mac mini computer, decent, you know, wonderful computer. But to get the latest operating system, I don't know how much time I had left on it. We're in 277 right now, so it's not compatible anymore, you know. But
yeah,
I was thinking like, okay, this computer is going to support the latest version of the operating system. I don't know, maybe they haven't said when, and it's the M1 computers. I don't remember when they were out, but maybe let's say 3-4 more years. I don't know when it is, right? So when it reaches that point, you cannot install the latest version of Mac on that specific hardware, you know. Whatever version was the latest one you installed, that's the latest one that you will be able to install. What do you do at that point? You can install something like what is this called? The Linux distro that runs on Macs, Asahi Linux, right? But who is gonna do that? I was not gonna do that, and it's not fully supported, you know. So
does it run on ARM? Is it ARM technology?
Yep,
your Mac.
it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
What I will say, if you want me to say something good about Mac, I will say that it's nice to open up a MacBook and open up a terminal and press CD and know it works. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Compared
like
to Windows.
I think CD works now on Windows, but like having to type dir is like, come on, man, what are we doing?
Yeah.
But it's like, but that's like pretty much all I have to say about, and then brew install. And then also things like you and shout out to Joseon, things like people like you and Joseon that actually make Mac like in the Tinker space. Like they make that, they're putting that out there on YouTube. I have a lot of respect for that. You know, even though it's proprietary garbage, I do have a lot of respect for people like you guys, because you're putting out there like, hey, you can tinker with your computer and you can actually make it your own customized setup. You know what I mean? So I do respect that. You know what I mean?
Make it useful. Yeah, because the default macOS experience is garbage. I don't like it, you know. I format the Mac and you get the Finder, you get the menu bar at the bottom, you get the bar at the top. I don't like it at all, man. I just use Mac, but it doesn't even feel like Mac. It
doesn't look like Mac when you stream, man. It looks like a riced out Hyperland is what it looks like.
Looks something strange. So if you use it differently, it's nice. Or, you know, I used it like a normie for a long time. Still better than Windows, but I don't like the default macOS experience. I just like the Unix space that it provides, and that the terminal is compatible with, you know, Linux servers.
It's POSIX compliant. Yeah, exactly. That makes a huge deal. Like if you're writing like POSIX scripts, like you want it to work, right?
Yeah.
But I think with the Mac and stuff, it's like your use case. It really depends, right? So it's like one time, like if I have to help somebody with their computer, I had to help somebody open up something on their Mac, and I went to their Finder, and I couldn't find their home folder. Like by default, I had to like go through a bunch of, I felt like a boomer. I was like trying to figure out like, how do I find your home folder in Finder? I literally was like Googling it, and I couldn't even open Google Chrome on their, I felt like such a boomer. I opened their MacBook. I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah. It's horrible.
It was, and then I used like 3 fingers to like swipe over to like a different workspace. And then like, they have this whole like kind of like ecosystem with the whole finger swiping, and it's high tech, dude. The goggles too, like they got everything. They have their ecosystem. It's genius. It's just not for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't like it too much either. And that's the way that I used to use it in the past. But I saw a ThePrimeagen video and I was like impressed by the way that he used his Ubuntu computer, because that's what he used in the past. And I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to do it on Mac. And, you know, I started figuring stuff out, and it was possible, and it's decent, you know. But
yeah, I saw your video recreating the ThePrimeagen's workflow on Mac.
That one.
It's a really good video. I think people should check that out. I mean, obviously, this is your channel. Everyone knows it, but it's a good video. I think it's awesome. And I think his video was cool, especially because he talks about how he uses a yoga ball because he doesn't want back problems. I think it's actually kind of insane. Like he's next level, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of my stuff is like similar to his too. Like he has like tmux sessionizer and stuff, and I have like a dmenu script that's like that too, and it's like it's crazy. He played Starcraft too as well, and that's kind of what kind of got me into Linux, or not Linux, but it got me into window managers, is because like everything in Starcraft is a bind, and having to click something or move your mouse is like alt tabbing, like it's just friction. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I want to learn more about that. Yeah. Go on about Starcraft and all that stuff.
Yeah, I guess because I told you my brother was like playing StarCraft and Diablo and stuff, and like I couldn't play that on Linux. Like I had emulators, I could play like Super Nintendo emulators and stuff, and like I was cool with that. But like you couldn't play those big box games that were made by like Blizzard and stuff. So I would log on his computer and play StarCraft till like 4 or 5 in the morning, and I just would play on ICUP and just play online and just try to get really really good at StarCraft, and it was really fun. And to do that, you had to bind every single thing to like a specific thing. So you like, you know, I'm saying Super Shift P right now. So you wouldn't have said that in StarCraft world. But like, you know, Super Shift P is this, you know, Super Shift D, you know, layer keyboard, Super D, like everything was binded to something specific, including like your camera position. Like you can make a bind to set your camera. Camera 1 is here. Camera 2 is over here. Like camera 3 is over here. And then you go to those camera locations so that instead of dragging your mouse to those locations, like whenever you feel like you're being attacked, or if you're on a timed interval, you could just boom, quickly go to that camera and say, okay, it's almost like workspaces. What's going on my third boom, workspace 3? Okay, I'm getting harassed here. I'm going to drop Marines over here. I'm over here now defending this harassment. It's like kind of turns into this crazy like APM off, you know what I mean? So transitioning into like a window manager, I think it was i3 at the time because it was blowing up. It's just the same thing. I mean, Super 2, Super 3, Super Shift 2, you're moving stuff around monitors, like you're flying around your operating system, right?
Yeah.
So it feels similar.
The keyboard life, yeah. That's the way that it feels for me. Now that you explain StarCraft, I think that's the way that I manage my computer. Like to switch OBS scenes, I already know the shortcuts, and it's a lot, man. But for example, if I want to switch to your camera, I don't even have to think about it. You know, I just execute it. If I want to go back to us, or if I want to go back to my screen, you know, it's just, I guess,
it's a habit, right? It's like a famous philosopher once said, a stream deck is bloatware, as the kids would say.
Yeah,
right?
It is.
You don't need it. You just have the keybinds.
Yeah. Yeah. I switch my scenes with my keyboard, man. Like, but I get it. Not everyone is going to.
I think that's why I'm surprised you never played StarCraft. Like you would have loved it, I think.
Yeah, I never did. I didn't like those games. What are those called? RPG games, right?
Real-time strategy.
Yeah.
RTS.
Where you see from above and you see the little, you know, guys there. Yep. I didn't like that type of.
What did you play back then? I mean, we can get into video games. We're talking about it. What did you play back then?
Oh, yeah. We can talk about that. I used to play, let me see. When I was younger, did you ever play Soul River?
No. What is it?
An old game. Let me see if it's here. Legacy of Kain. Soul River.
Soul River. Oh, Soul River.
Let me show it to you here. Did you ever play this?
No, it looks old school though.
Why is this thing not switching to images? You see switching to images there? Okay, it was this this thing. You never played it?
Really good graphics. No, it looks like it doesn't even look familiar to me. Is that a PS2 game?
No, it was a computer. Well, I played it in the computer, 1999. Yeah. That was one of the first ones that I played. What else did I play? I played Vice City, of course. Man, that was a beautiful game. Did you ever play Vice City?
Of course. Yeah, of course I did.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it was a classic.
Yeah.
Were you into any like computer, like I guess any Blizzard games like Warcraft or World of Warcraft, any of that stuff?
I was never into World of Warcraft.
Dota maybe, or not really?
No. I played Vice City a lot. I played this. I played Nintendo 64. That's what I had afterwards. Zelda, Ocarina of Time.
GoldenEye?
Yeah, GoldenEye. Yeah. Tony Hawk 1 and 2.
Yes, the classics.
Yeah.
I think like because I pivoted into computer games, that's probably what got me into like where I am now. Like I started playing World of Warcraft after StarCraft, and in that game you have to customize your UI, or you can customize your UI with Lua. Like literally there's a whole framework where you can write Lua scripts that customizes your UI.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought like, hey, like how do I make, like let's say an enemy uses a spell and I wanted to track like on my screen the cooldown of that spell. Let's say he used a spell and I want to say, okay, start a clock that's 20 seconds whenever he uses a spell, so I know like when it's coming back up. I could write a Lua script that tells me that, right? Mm-hmm. I can tell exactly where the position on the screen could go for that with a Lua script. And because of that, Like I broke into, I would say Lua was my first language besides like HTML and like Shell, I guess. Because I got into Lua at that age, like it's just like NeoVim, you know what I mean? Like when you write a NeoVim plugin, you're just writing a Lua script.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like a perfect segue from like World of Warcraft add-ons to like Lua scripts for NeoVim. So it's like, it's a no-brainer, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And what games are you into currently? Do you still play any games?
Dude, I haven't played any video games in like maybe 2 years. I don't know. I last thing I played was Dota, but you know, it's been a while. I've been focusing on a lot of YouTube and creating videos and just spending time with my family and stuff. So it's like, you know, no time.
Yeah. You have to choose what to do with the time. And for me to play a game is like, I'd rather do something else. I'd rather price up my NeoVim config, or I don't know.
Yeah, that's a game to me. If I get
is.
to go and rise up my NeoVim config, I consider that 20 minutes of like way more well spent than like jumping 20-minute time sync into some like, you know, Vice City or whatever, you know. No bashing on Vice City, but yeah.
Yeah.
It just feels more productive.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it happened to me, and I just feel like I'm just wasting my time if I play a game. I don't feel good. I'm like, man, I'm just literally wasting hours doing this that is
Yeah.
not going to give me anything back.
Right.
And I just stopped doing it. The last one that I played was Skyrim. Man, it's a beautiful game. It's my favorite game, I would say. Skyrim. Oh, yeah. That's my wallpaper. You know, that's what you see here in my wallpaper. The dragon that you see in the background. It's actually from Skyrim, you know. But
yeah, no, that's cool.
I played that
for games. I'm curious, like for games, I think the next time I'll play video games will have to be with my son.
Yeah.
So like I'm probably gonna introduce him to like maybe the old school Pokemon games so that he doesn't get like a attention deficit disorder or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, so,
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm excited to play some games with him at some point.
Yeah, me too, with my daughter. I was planning on maybe buying a Nintendo 64 or something like that, and but not yet. She's 8 right now, but we don't give her a tablet. We don't give her a phone. Well, not even. It's not even in question. No, nothing. She has a Kindle, so she can read in the Kindle. That's it.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
No tablet
Well,
or anything.
we'll definitely be talking because you're 8 years ahead of me. Mine is 4 months old, so that's why if you look at my videos, I didn't upload for like 3 months because I just had a son. So it's like,
oh yeah,
beautiful situation, but a lot of time, you know. So,
complicated.
Yeah.
How has that been, by the way? Like,
probably the best experience of my life. You know, it's just like a new form of like everything's. It's life's biggest project. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's like hard to explain it to people who don't have kids, but you instantly know what I'm talking about. So it's just like, yeah, it's just wonderful. You know.
Yeah. Do you know any other language, by the way? I'm just asking because with my daughter, what we did is talk to her in the opposite language. Where I live, we speak Spanish only, right? So ever since she was born, we only talk to her in English, both my wife and I. Because here in Guatemala, everyone speaks Spanish. It's like the main language, right? So the only reason I'm asking is if you know any other language, just go ahead and do it, man. Just talk to you.
Yeah, I mean, actually, we speak Chinese to the little one. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My family is my wife's Chinese. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Don't stop, man. It feels, I don't know. People in the street look at us and it's like they ask me like, "Where are you from?" And I'm like, "I'm from here." But they hear me talking to my daughter in English and they're like, "So where are these guys from?" You know. But
yeah, they're like, "Are you tourists? Like, are you guys Yankees?
No.
You ever get called a Yankee or what?"
No. Look at yeah. But it's just for her own good, for her own benefit.
No, I think it's a really good thing, especially at that age. They can absorb a lot more of second language and third language like a lot easier.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it's really good to expose them to that, and I think it's definitely something you should do. I feel like it's going to make her have a lot more opportunities in life later. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, definitely, for sure, man. And what are your thoughts on the other operating system, Windows? We didn't hear about that.
So here's the thing: is like I haven't used Windows in so long that I actually don't even know like what's going on in the Windows world these days. Like the last time I used Windows was to play a video game, and then besides that, it would have been like I don't know years and years ago because you have to fight the operating system again so hard, like with the updates and with like everything that you have to do to log into Windows, and then now making you sign in and have a subscription fee to like sign in or whatever. I'm like, dude, what's going on with this? And like on Linux, I just load up a Linux on a burner laptop and I know it's going to work. I have everything I need on it. I've had a workflow that's worked for me consistently forever. And when somebody says, hey, like, but this proprietary garbage that's not on Linux, it's on Windows. I'm like, well, I mean, I just don't use it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think like for Windows, the best way to use it would be WSL2, which is like a Linux emulation software you can use in the terminal. And then you just download Arch in the terminal and then you just are on Linux on Windows. Otherwise, it's literally unusable. I'm not kidding. It's unusable for me because like I can't develop on it.
Yeah.
It's like, but I don't know.
I use a Windows computer at my current job, and I'm forced to basically, I have no option, man.
Yeah.
The experience, because I was introduced to macOS at my previous job. I joined there, I don't know, like 7 years ago or something like that. And I was given a Mac and I'm like, okay, I've never used Mac. I used the Mac and I didn't like it at first, but I got used to it. And here we are right now with the Mac. But I stopped using Windows. I went back to Windows recently and at this job, and it feels so low just to switch apps. I don't know if it's because of the spyware that companies install to see what you're doing and all that. I don't know if that affects or if Windows is really that shitty, man.
Let me pause you for a second. I thought you were going to be based and say the spyware that Microsoft makes you install. I thought that's what you were going to say.
Yeah.
But
in addition to that one as well. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think for me, last time I was on Windows, like a Windows machine would have been like, I opened up Windows on one of my friend's computers. I opened up his performance monitor and I see there's like 38 gigs of RAM being used. I look at what it is and it's just all random like services. I'm like, what is going on here? And so when I'm on Arch or when I'm on like, even on Mac, you probably don't have the same issue. I mean, you probably aren't using all of your RAM at all times.
No.
But it definitely is bloated and it's not, I don't know. I'm hoping people can make the switch from Windows to Linux soon because if they're into gaming and that's their whole, like that's their dark horse, they're like, well, I can't leave Windows because of games. SteamOS is going to be the next like big thing, I feel. Like already Steam games are optimized like for Linux because the Steam Deck is Arch based. Mm-hmm. So already all the Steam games are already good. It's just going to be those last Blizzard stragglers and like the Valorant players of the world. Like we're going to need to get those people over somehow, but I don't know how, but it's like to a certain point, it's just, I think if you know me in real life, like I'm just going to tell you, just try Linux. It's going to be annoying. You know what I mean? Like if somebody says, hey, my computer, this, that, and that, I'm like, oh, hey, have you tried Linux? They stop inviting me to hang out because that's all I talk about.
Now,
you know what I mean?
All of my friends, they're my age and they play games. I don't know, they're my age, but mentally, they're not my age. Okay, now, because they like playing games. They have like the latest graphics card, and they have like supercomputers and they run Windows, but because they like playing games and Windows is what they have used all their life. And I'm the annoying, because the name of the group is PC Master Race. I don't know how I ended up in the group, but I'm the annoying MFer, man. And I'm like, Windows sucks. Windows is, and all of them use Windows. That's the purpose of the group, They don't kick me out because we're friends now, but man.
Well, I think the PC Master Race thing is it's not technically Windows. I think I used to follow that subreddit and it was just people talking about how PCs, like building your own PC is better than console games. That's where I think that comes from. So it's like,
yeah, but they run Windows, and they're not gonna switch. They're not gonna switch to Linux. Do you think someone like that could? They'll not do it. Nah, but
I love the question. I mean, the answer is yes. If they dual boot into Arch and then they start loving it, but the question is, are they going to use their computer for anything but games, or are they just addicted to video games and Cheetos? Like, what's their life looking like?
Yeah, Cheetos.
And you don't have to reveal like you don't want to. Yeah, I mean, those people. They're probably great people, but they need a couple of years or an emotional event to turn their life around first, right? So I mean, that's just kind of how it is.
Yeah. I don't know. They're not gonna,
because you're 21 years old. If you're 21 and you're eating Cheetos and you're still playing on Windows all day, like you got to be. You're late to the party, man. It's 2090. Like we got to move on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Another big thing here in the country that I live in Guatemala, it's a third world country. All of the companies in Guatemala use Windows, and they use Windows servers for everything. And they use, what is it? Yeah, basically Windows everywhere. All of the companies. So Windows is like the major operating system here. Well, I guess in the world everywhere, right? So
it is. Yeah, it is.
They use it for work.
Don't you think they would make more money though if they just switched over to Debian?
They would, but the problem is like the policies, right? So if you get your laptop stolen, they have all the malware installed, and they can, you know, remotely format it, and they have it part of the Active
Yeah.
Directory and all that crap.
Yeah.
So I guess for corporations, I'm not sure if that's the reason, you know, and if you could do that in Linux, you know, at a corporate level, maybe with
Yeah.
Ubuntu or something, I'm not sure.
I mean, you're making my argument for me, though. You're saying that they have to use Windows because they need to control you, right?
Yep.
So,
Exactly.
so it's like, why would I ever put that garbage on my computer? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, complicated. But so is it possible to play games on Linux then? So it is.
100%.
Yep.
100%. I think a lot of people are in the gaming world right now talking about this. There's a lot of games that are even more optimized for Linux than they are for Windows. I'm not going to like talk too much about that because I don't know for sure full depth, but I do encourage people to do like a deep dive on that. It's like Steam, at least I know for sure, like a lot of the Steam games, I personally played them on Arch Linux because they're already available on the Steam Deck, which is Arch based, right? So it's like, if you're a Steam guy, like if you're a Dota or like a CS:GO or like a Skyrim guy, you know, you definitely can probably play that on Linux, no problem. But if you're like addicted to World of Warcraft, or if you're addicted to like Valorant, which it makes you have injected like VAC stuff on the kernel, I think you got to figure out like what's going on with your life first, and then make the switch. You know, you feel me?
Okay, makes sense. Now, there's a couple other questions that I want to ask you, and we don't have a lot more time because I think there's stuff you have to do soon, right?
I got like 45 minutes. We can keep going with it.
Okay, awesome.
But yeah, whatever you think is the most important, let's get into, because I'm pretty excited to talk about it. Kind of whatever's left on the list.
Yeah, and your demo as well. We have to go over that, man, and that's gonna take us like, I don't know, 20 minutes. So let's get going. What are your thoughts on YouTube? You know, when doing YouTube, what are your thoughts on sponsorships? What do you think of a channel when you see a sponsorship, and are you planning on taking sponsorships in the future?
It's a good question. Like, I'm not, I don't really plan on taking any sponsorships. I don't think 100% negativity about people that take sponsorships, because I know like these people are making content and it's like they're doing it for free. So they may as well, you know, take a sponsorship. And if they believe in the product, I'm okay with it. But for me personally, like, I don't ever want to have to worry about being beholden to like a company to change my tone or whatever, right? And I worry that, like, let's say a company offers me, hey, like, if you talk good about our product, like, we'll give you one, and, you know, we'll give you a sponsorship. And like, let's say I get the product and I don't like it. I'm worried that that would cause like a moral problem with me, right? So it's like, I don't know. Me personally, probably not. But again, I don't judge anybody who does it out there, because I know it's like you're making YouTube content and it takes a lot of time and energy. And if you need something to fund you to do that, to motivate you, go for it.
Okay.
What about you?
What?
What about you? What do you think about that? Actually, kind of curious.
Sponsorships, I have to believe in the product. They have reached out. They sent me an email a couple of days ago. I have this AI tool. I found your channel. You should check it out. And I'm like, why would I check it out, man? I don't even know you. I'm not. No, but
yeah.
It has to be something that aligns with me a little bit. Like, for example, I don't know, these Brilliant guys. They reached out in the past, but they didn't offer what I wanted. So I said, no, fuck it, whatever. I don't wanna deal with you guys.
Yeah, but if Apple reached out to you and said, hey, like, we saw you're a big Apple guy, like, we're going to give you like a MacBook, and we're going to make a video about it.
I'd do it.
You see what I'm saying?
It's
something you're already doing. Yeah. You don't have to change your viewpoint on it.
Yeah.
But it's like, for me, but even for me though, like, if somebody said, hey, like, we want to, like, let's say the guys at NixOS said, hey, we love your NixOS evangelism. We want you to go talk more about it. Here's some money. I wouldn't even take their money. I'd just do it for free. Because I do it anyway. You know what I mean? I don't want to be beholden to, because I don't want them to tell me, but you have to say this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like,
you
know.
I'm not there yet. I'll have to decide when the time comes, if it ever comes, if I'm still doing YouTube. But my plans are, if I like it, if I agree with whatever they're offering, I'll do it. If I don't have to change my
rhetoric on it.
Yeah, if I don't have to say what they want me to, no, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna be natural. I'm not gonna feel right doing it. I don't know. Who knows, man? Who knows?
I respect it, man. I totally respect it. And I get I totally think that's a normal, sensible view on it.
Yeah. What are your thoughts as well on university degrees? Do you think they're useful, or are you more into certifications, or you would say none of them, just practice? What's your thoughts there?
Yeah. So this is going to differ from where you live. Like in the United States, at least statistically speaking, like if you have a university degree, it's going to give you a very, very high likelihood to land a good job, especially in the computer science field. So I would just recommend like following that path, just statistically speaking. I don't agree with the fact that, you know, an HR manager instantly left swipes you if you don't have a bachelor's degree. I don't agree with that, but it is the world we live in. So I think we have to kind of adapt to those parameters and say, hey, like this is what we have to do. So let's get that degree, let's get that piece of paper, and then let's get that job we need or whatever to make the money we need to, you know, fund our life. But I would say you don't actually need a degree to learn anything. All the information we have, it's 2037, 2099, whatever year it is.
Yep.
It's all
2100.
Right? Yeah, we're in 2100 now. So it's like you could learn anything, right? So yeah, I would say definitely get a degree if you're in the United States and you're thinking about, you know, computer science and stuff, but also at the same time, don't think you need one to learn something. That's my advice on it.
Yep. Same here. I'm 37 right now. And I started when I resumed university, like 5 years ago. This is the final year, you know, and I'm completely and 100% disappointed at the system, the educational system. For me, for someone like me, my age, 37 years old, that already lived, that has like somewhat of a career, because I'm like a network engineer or something like that. You know?
Exactly. Yeah. And you see how downhill it's going. You see like you're not learning anything.
No, not at all, man. It's like I don't care about that crap anymore. I haven't done homework like in 2 months, and
you're
I'm
paying
like,
for a piece of paper, right?
Yeah. I just wanted to get over with that shit. I'm not learning anything. It's just completely useless for me. But now, talking about my daughter, she's 8. When she turns 18, she's going to the university. I'm not going to ask, you know, because she doesn't have a career.
Statistically speaking, right? Like statistically speaking, it's the best choice, right? I mean, it's like,
she doesn't
it's
have
hard
a
to
chance.
say because everybody is a different person. So it's hard for me to give advice on a person-to-person level, but you just spelled it out just now. I mean, it's very, very, just follow the statistics, like follow the stats, right? I mean, it's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And, what about?
I know you. Yeah, you go ahead.
No,
I was gonna say,
ahead.
I know you wanted to ask me about like System D and stuff, and like there's some other stuff like
and Appimages. I wanted to ask about Appimages and System D because I see a lot of hate on System D, and I'm like, but man, that's what I do. That's what I use on my Debian servers. If I want to stop a service, if I want to start it, or if I want to enable a service, disable service, it's like, okay, it's useful for me on servers, but what's the beef? Let's start with System D. What's going on there?
So
why do people hate it?
System, it was, well, first of all, it's trendy to hate System D, right? It's like a very trendy thing. You say I don't like System D, and then that begs that immediately has the other person saying, "What do you mean? What is System D? What do you mean you don't? Is there an alternative? What are you talking about?" And it's like for you and me and 99% of people, I mean, everyone is on System D, right? Everyone is, and there's alternatives, and I like alternatives. I like Run It. I like OpenRC, but I really would say if anybody ever tells you that System D they don't like it, I think you should just ask them, hey, like, what do you not like about it? Mm-hmm. And eventually you'll start to see that these people that say that, they don't repeat it. It's sort of like the Debian is stable conspiracy. They just don't know why they say it. They just say it. You know what I'm saying? But I think a lot of people say it's a monolith and like it does too much and it doesn't follow the Unix philosophy. I don't care about the Unix philosophy. You know what I mean? Like I care about free and open source software. So if System D or Run It or whatever, like if they're free and open source, I'm just going to use it. Mm-hmm. And if it works, it works. You know, and System D is fine. But yeah, I think it's fun to experiment with other init systems like, you know, Run It or OpenRC just to kind of learn about it. And for me, I've done that, of course. And I made a video on, I think, OpenRC with Ardix, and it's kind of cool. But, you know, at the end of the day, System D is on like 99% of computers. And if you don't know System D, like you're not going to get a job because you're not going to be able to run systemctl, restart, Apache 2 or whatever.
You're going to use it on every freaking company that you go. There's no way around that. So for someone that doesn't know what System D is, would you mind just a 10-second introduction? What is it?
Yeah, it's like an init system that runs on your computer, which manages all your like services. So for example, when you have a network manager, which is basically how you can turn on your network, like just when your computer turns on, you can just systemctl enable network manager. You can just do that once. And then every time you turn your computer on, network manager starts up with your computer, right? So it's like just a convenient thing that allows you to kind of manage your services. And everyone needs an init system because everyone needs services. So System D is just the one that's been the most popular and the most used init system pretty much for the last 30 years. So it's just adopted.
So approved then, systemd
100%
or not approved?
100% approved. Free and open source approved.
Okay. What about Appimages? Because I think, I'm not quite sure, but I think that I installed NeoVim. In the past, I used to install NeoVim on my servers. They're mine. I don't care, so I don't care about security too much.
Yeah.
But I think that I installed it in my Debian servers using an app image. I don't remember quite well. What are Appimages? Are they recommended? Are they good? Are they bloat? What?
Okay, so for me, if you're going to use the latest version of a software that isn't in your package repo, I assume that's why you use an app image.
Yep.
For me, I would just say, why not go one step further and just compile it from source, right? Mm-hmm. Like, why not just clone the repo and then make it? Because like, what is the goal? Like, what are you using that distribution or package manager for, right? If you don't care about like, whatever distribution you're on or whatever package manager you're on, and you just want like a convenient app image, yeah, go for it. Use the app image if you want. A lot of people say that it's like, it helps you with dependencies because it's all contained and stuff. Mm-hmm. But for me, I've never had a situation where an app image, a snap, a flatpak has ever helped my life. It's always caused friction. So if I just know how to clone the repo and make the compile the software from source, I'm just going to do that. And like I told you earlier, with Debian 13, I couldn't use NeoVim version 11, which is required for me because all my plugins kind of rely on version 11. And so I just went to the NeoVim repository, git cloned it, and then there's instructions on how to, build it from source, and there you go. So to me, I don't see a personal need for an app image when I can just, compile something from source, unless it's proprietary garbage, but then I'm not going to use it. So.
Okay. Now, what about something like OBS or Davinci? Are you in favor of flatpaks at all, or flatpaks or not at all?
For Davinci, I'm pretty sure that's proprietary garbage, right?
Yep.
So I would just say I wouldn't use it. But if you're talking about OBS and you're on Debian or something, and you want to make sure you have like the latest and greatest OBS that works, if you have a snap or a flatpak or an app image, like, go for it. If it's a personal thing, it's just me personally. I'm just going to compile it from source. You know what I mean? Like, just because it's just I don't see that. I don't want to for flatpaks and snaps. Like, I don't want to type lsblk and see a bunch of random stuff in my lsblk. I just want to see my partitions. And if I start seeing like snaps and flatpaks in my lsblk, I'm like, what's going on here? You know what I mean? I feel like a boomer. I literally feel like a boomer. I'm like, what is this?
Old men yelling at the cloud. And when you install from source, when you compile from source, how do you update a package? Do you need to install from sources again, or how do you update?
Yeah, I mean, if it's like say it's really rare that I do this, but yeah, let's say I'm on Debian and I have version 11 of NeoVim, and then NeoVim 12 drops and I need that, I'll just clone it again and recompile it.
Okay.
Or sometimes they have like a binary like available just on their site, and I can just download that binary.
Okay. Now, what about Debian? Are there any beefs with Debian? Are there any conspiracy theories against Debian? I have heard that it's influenced probably by other companies that support it, or maybe I dreamt about it. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything about like the global conspiracy about Debian and what's going on with like people that are pushing it. But again, I will just harken back to when anybody ever tells me that they use Debian because it's stable, and then I ask them why is it stable, and they can't give me a cohesive answer. Question, is it actually stable? And I asked you earlier, and you gave me a pretty good answer. You said, hey, I don't want to worry about security updates. I just want to like every 6 months run, sudo apt update, semicolon, like sudo apt upgrade or whatever, right? And I get that. That's totally cool. But that would be you giving me a satisfactory answer saying, yeah, it's stable. But most people don't know that. They just say it's stable because it's stable, which is a tautology, right? I don't buy into that. So for me personally, when I run Debian 13, and it's like the worst experience ever, like I can't get NeoVim 11, I have policy kit issues. I'm just like, why is this stable for what? What is this stable for?
Okay.
Like, what are we talking about? It's like, oh, no problem, bro. Like, and you start Googling how to get version 11, and you say, oh, get this flatpak or get this snap. And I'm like, what? I don't want to do all this. I just, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, this is not stable. This is making me feel unstable. You know what I mean? So, so that's my whole conspiracy on Debian, I think.
Oh, okay. Now, are there any role models? Do you follow any role models? Like, who is your role model, basically?
Yeah, I've got like 3 pretty big role models. I would say John Carmack, He's a programmer. He used to work at id Software. He made Quake. He made Quake C. And I think he worked at id Software and actually tried to release like Doom and Quake and stuff under the GPL. So it's pretty like friendly to open source and free software and stuff. Yeah, that guy. And just the way he talks, like he was on I was going to say your podcast, but that's me just making a meme. He was on Lex Friedman's podcast, 5 hours.
Okay.
And I recommend, there it is right there. I recommend checking that out because he is like, I don't know. I would watch that for sure. That 5 hour podcast.
Why is this thing in Spanish, man? I know I live in Guatemala, but I always put it in English.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell is going on? Like, the third world just coming right
It's because
at
we're
me.
talking about Debian. Because we talk about Debian too much.
Yeah, it's just okay. Yeah, I saw this. I didn't watch the episode. Okay, so but man, his 5 hours. Like, are you kidding me, Tony? Like, do you want me to watch this for 5 hours?
I don't want you to sit down in one 5 hour block. I want you to sit down at a 30-minute block and listen to it. Maybe like if you have a 30-minute drive, check out 30 minutes of it, right? Or like maybe you have like 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there. Just eventually get through it, and by the 30-minute mark, you're gonna watch the whole thing. I feel like. So it's definitely worth it.
Okay.
But that guy John Carmack is one of my role models because of his just philosophy on programming and his like get after it mindset. And like he really built a lot from scratch, and like he's just like a very humble guy, and all he cares about is writing code. And I think it's like he's a role model of mine. I said another one is Derek Taylor. He was on your podcast earlier. His name is DistroTube on YouTube. Yeah.
Shout out to DistroTube.
Yeah, he's a free and open source software advocate, and he is a YouTuber. His YouTube channel is like very, very inspirational for me because he's just all he cares about is like his passion about Linux and free and open source software, and he doesn't inject like anything else into his YouTube channel. He just says, "Hey, we're talking about free and open source software today. Like, here's a bash script. Like, look at that. Even that like first thumbnail you saw is a little bit political, but you see like." Hey, here's a bash script on how you run dmenu. Like it's just thousands of videos of very, very good content. And he's got like very high like audio quality. Like he's just a very passionate guy. You know what I mean? So,
and look at the microphone. I just noticed this. Look at this. Look at this thing here. Okay, look at this.
Yeah.
You see the microphone there? And now let's see this. What is this, man? Like, are you the DistroTube of year 2077? Or what?
I feel like I'm DistroTube light, if that makes any sense. One day I'll become DistroTube's apprentice or whatever. But in all seriousness, DistroTube is like I literally like bought this mic because he made a video talking about this mic, and he, I was like, oh, this is pretty. It sounds like a pretty good mic, and I kept seeing a bunch of advertisements for a bunch of like normie mics. I'm like,
yeah, like
DistroTube,
this one. This girl.
Yeah,
this is a girl microphone. Have you seen it somewhere else?
Yeah, I've seen it on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Oh, really? No. I was talking about someone in the tech space. Someone that was brought up in Sylvan's.
No, I don't remember what you're talking about. No, not sure. But I see Joe Rogan has that mic, but it's just the black version of it.
Oh, yeah. I didn't want to buy this white one, but it's the only one that was available, So
yeah.
I don't like this color. I wanted a black one. Hold on. No, that's not what I meant. But yeah, I didn't have any other.
No, but
color
I think
available.
you sound great, and it's high quality for sure. It's a good mic, but I don't like to like buy something that's advertised as Twitch streamer mic, or whatever. Like it's just I don't want to buy that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this mic that I found from DistroTube's channel, like it didn't have any of that stuff on it. It just said like high quality mic, whatever XLR mic, and I felt like that maybe for me, just I don't know, instinctively, I'm like maybe it's a good purchase. And then he sounds great with his audio, so I'm like, you know what? He's a big role model of mine. Like,
this looks like a macOS guy microphone. Yours is more like an open source guy microphone, right? So it doesn't go with your image. I bought this one because it's USB. Look, I have it connected USB.
You're not even using an XLR?
No. I have my audio interface back there. It's there. Yeah. I don't know. You cannot see it. It's there.
Is it a Scarlett 2i2?
No. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I just don't want to drop my entire computer, man. This one.
Oh, right on.
It's a Behringer, I think it's called.
Behringer. Okay.
It has 4. But I'm old
That's
already,
really cool,
man. I don't want to spend time connecting that. It would be here on my desk. But no, I just USB and move on.
Yeah. I'll give you a tour of my quote unquote studio one day, and you'll see what I have. It suspiciously looks a lot like DistroTubes.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm telling you, man, this guy is like a big role model of mine. Like he made a lot of really good content about window managers and stuff, and he did like a lot of really good content about like just Linux and free and open source software. And he just turned the mic on and started talking, and like people like listen. So it's really inspirational,
Yeah. And who else?
But yeah. There's a guy named Mark Ripito. I don't know. He's kind of an obscure guy, but
Mark.
you can search it.
Let's see. Mark.
RIPP.
Oh,
That guy.
this one?
Yeah.
Since it's in Spanish, I don't know what's going to show up. Oh, this guy?
Yeah, this guy. So he wrote a book called Starting Strength, and he wrote another book called Practical Programming for like weightlifting and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, like he's like the Unix philosophy of weightlifting, of like lifting weights, basically. If that makes sense. He's like kind of like, okay, here's the foundations and first principles. Like just do this and it works. And so I read the book and I started using his method, and I was able to like, get a lot stronger and like, actually like feel like a person like should feel, instead of like being unhealthy and stuff. Like, he just, I don't know. He just has a lot of good, I guess, Mark Ripito isms, if you will. So he's just, one of those guys that I look up to as well.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Now we don't have much time left. Do you want to cover something before we jump to the demo? Any other topics or something that you want to cover before we jump to demos? To the demo, actually.
I think we hit everything except movies. But I mean, movies is what.
Yeah. What are you into?
Sicario. Have you ever seen Sicario?
Let's see. No, I didn't. Is it an action movie?
Nah, it's a thriller kind of. It's still somewhat action movie.
This one?
Yeah, 2015.
Looks too Hollywood-esque for me.
Yeah. You're more of an indie guy.
Yeah, I'm more like on the independent side of things, But
No Country for Old Men.
Oh man,
you seen that one?
That is a wonderful because of this guy Javier Bardem.
Yes.
God damn, he's a wonderful actor, man.
Yeah. He says, "What time do you close?" Normally around dark. Dark is at a time. What time do you close? 9 o'clock.
Yeah, this is a beautiful movie. I love this movie, and it's Hollywood-esque, but it's extremely well made. I love it. Yeah. Did you watch this guy's Netflix series? What is it? This one. Did you watch this one?
No.
By any chance?
No. Is it worth it?
Oh man. This guy, Javier Bardem, just watch the first few chapters. You're not gonna love it, maybe too much, but man, just watch this guy. This is the only reason. This is the only guy for which I recommend the series. If he wasn't in there, I probably wouldn't have liked it, But man, I thought he had lost it because he made other movies like Eat, Pray, and Love, and I was like, I didn't like that at all. Did you ever see that Eat, Pray, and Love movie?
No. I've only seen No Country for Old Men, and I think I've seen like a couple other ones. Like he's in Dune, actually. I know you want to talk about Dune.
Actually, I want to talk about Dune.
Let me know what you say about Dune.
I thought he had lost it, and I thought Javier was lost. But when I watched that Menendez brothers thing, man, I loved it. It's a good series. It's on Netflix. Well, it's proprietary garbage, as you say, so you're probably not gonna watch it on Netflix. Right?
I don't view like movies and stuff as proprietary garbage. Like it's just just copyright. You have to be. There's no other way around it. Like what are you gonna do? Give it away for free?
Yeah, there's no way around it. So we're in a chat with Vimity, right? And Henry Misk. Yeah. So you guys love this movie. So I said to my wife, okay, let's just watch it. I'm just going to play it, right? I don't want to go into details, but let's watch it. We watched it, and maybe sci-fi is not my thing. Yeah, maybe sci-fi is not my genre, but I've seen better work done by Chalamet than this. I think it's overrated.
Right.
To be honest with you,
it's the Debian of movies, right?
Yeah.
Would you
watch
say that
this
like,
one?
And go ahead. A Beautiful Boy. Yeah. I've seen it.
Have you watched that one? This man, the acting on this movie by this guy, by Chalamet, is is amazing. You know, it's
just so weird to rewatch this stuff and not see him talking about Vim. It's so weird.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
What's creamy, guys? Like the Vim. Vim is, you know.
Yeah, but you love Dune, right?
Yeah, I don't love it. I just like it. Let me give you this. The last 5 years, there's been literally like no good movies. Yep. And Dune was like refreshing to me because it was like actually really good in my opinion compared to like the last 5 years, right? But if you put it compare it to like No Country for Old Men in that era, it's B tier. It's Ubuntu like LTS tier, you know?
Yeah.
Gets the job done, but
it's entertaining.
It's not NixOS. It's not any like art.
It's not macOS. Yeah.
Sorry about that. Yeah. It's not F tier. You're right. It's not. I love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I think I should jump into that demo and kind of show you a little bit about what I do with Nix, and maybe we can go from there.
Yeah, we won't have time. Let's do it. I'll switch to your screen. We ready?
Alrighty. Yeah, let's get into it.
Okay.
So I've got NixOS here on a virtual machine.
Okay.
And I use DWM or like any window manager, as you know, like just quickly go to and from like web browsers, terminal, browser, terminal, etc. And what I like about Nix that I said earlier is that you can have a dev shell. And so what I'll show is like, let's say I'm going to go into my repos folder and I have a website. So I'll clone that website here. It's Tony Banters, Tony, by the way. So I'm going to clone this website, right? And in this repo, I have a flake called flake.nix. It tells you kind of what you need to actually run this. And luckily there's only one package. This is Hugo. This is kind of a small example, but like, you know, you don't need to worry about any of this stuff. Like it's just in the repo.
Okay.
So like, just to prove to you that I don't have Hugo on the system, I'll just type Hugo serve right now. And you see the command not found, right?
Okay.
But if I run this flake, I'll do nix develop dot, and then it's going to just put me into a shell with whatever was parameterized in that flake. And now as you see, this Hugo is ready. So now I can serve this. So let's actually open tmux here. Am I still in that shell? Yeah. So if I do Hugo serve, I'm actually in a Hugo server, and I told you before I didn't have it installed, so I'm in a dev shell in tmux now. Now in another in another pane, I can just open this back up, and if I go to my browser, I can go to localhost 1313, and there's the served site, right? So it makes it really convenient to just drop into a dev shell and just like immediately start. And let's say I want to change this from creating to something else, I can open up Vim and just grep creating. Go right to the file, change this to, you know, compiling or something, save the file, go back to the browser, and it's already done. You know what I mean? So
simple to set up.
Very simple, very like low friction. And it's like, I don't need to worry about the dependencies. Like I can give somebody else this flake and they can just, not even a flake. They don't even know anything about flakes. They could just say, hey, here's your repo. And then just they can run nix develop. If they don't have nix set up, it's pretty easy. It's 2 commands on Arch. It's easy on Mac too, brew install.
Okay.
But I've got a community tab where I've got people like that follow my channel, and they can make their own like articles on my website. And this guy made like an article talking about his Qtile rice, right? And all he had to do was take my repo, clone it. He could install Hugo, or he can just, you know, jump into the flake and then start working on it, submit a PR, and then you're good to go. So I think it's like a beautiful part about Nix that doesn't get talked about that much. And I know I speed ran that, but yeah, I think it's kind of cool.
Oh yeah, that's amazing. Because otherwise, you would have to install Hugo, or in my case, I use Jekyll. So you have to, I run Jekyll in a server, so I have it running in Docker. So that's where I have my blog post locally. But this is way simpler, you know, just a single command and you're up and running with your blog post locally.
Yeah, another thing too is like, I can go into like nixos.files config, just top files here. And I have a flake that allows me to modify like DWM and all that stuff. So I'll just run that real quick. Nix develop dot, and then I named it suckless because that's the name of like the utilities. And now I actually can go into like my config folder in dmenu, for example. And my dmenu binary is like let's see what that looks like. So if I ls and pipe it into dmenu, it just looks like that, right? Because I've customized it. It doesn't look terrible. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I can modify that here in this shell. You know, just go to config.def.ih. And let's just do something like super simple. Let's just change centered to 0. So let's just change this centered to 0 here. And then I can make because I don't have make installed on the system, but I'm in this development shell, so I can just run make, and then now I have dmenu made, a completely new build of dmenu. So if I run ls on this local dmenu that I just built, I can see it's not centered, right? It's just up at the top, and maybe I like that better, right? So the point is, I can tinker with it within this dev shell, and then like as soon as I'm ready for it to be like live on this build, I can then rebuild my system and not have to worry about it. So I think it's like
So you can test, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Exactly.
Without modifying your actual config.
Yeah, because I'm in NixOS, right? So I have like already that binary, because the dmenu binary didn't change. So if I run it back on dmenu, that didn't change. What changed was I have a new dmenu in here called dmenu in this folder. So what happens when I run NixOS rebuild switch is that it'll tell NixOS to take this binary here and replace my current binary with this, right? But I don't want that to happen unless I'm ready for that. So it's like you can kind of tinker with it and you can see the capabilities of it, right?
Yeah, definitely. That's
so it's kind of cool. So I'll just I like it how it was. So I'll just make clean and then exit the shell. But now I'm no longer in the shell, so I don't have access to make or anything like that. And it keeps your system a little bit more organized. Like I don't need to worry about the dependencies. I just have it all locked into like whatever needs it. You know what I'm saying?
And is there something in your prompt that tells you that you're in a Nix shell? I guess with Starship or something you could, right? But
that's funny. I got asked that question on a comment today, actually. There's a way to change your prompt using a shell hook, which I might talk about in a blog post or something like that. But yeah, it's a good point. Because it was confusing. You don't know if you're in a shell or not. But yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But a couple other things like with dmenu, I have like a bookmark script that's literally just a text file. So if I do super FB, let's say I want to
implement that. That's awesome. Yeah. So what is this dmenu thing, by the way? Because I use Raycast in macOS, which is a proprietary tool, that does something similar to this. We could say that's how I access my bookmarks and stuff. But this looks quite good. I like it better compared to Raycast on macOS.
So dmenu is the best program that was ever written. You can use it by itself. It's useless, but you can use it for anything. So you can pipe a list of bookmarks into it, right? And then from there, you can tell, once you've hit that list of bookmarks, you can tell your browser to open that bookmark, right? And so I've got like a list it's a text file of bookmarks. So it's agnostic to whatever machine I'm on. It just has personal personal bookmarks or, work bookmarks, right? So let's say I want to go to your website, which is work related because like I've got information about blog posts and stuff. I'll just hit enter. I'll hit enter on your work and I open it in my work browser, right? So boom, I've got your blog and I'm like, okay, everything what do I need to know about NeoVim? Okay, what is normal mode? Right? So I'm on my work browser, right? So if anybody comes over to me and I'm at work, they're not going to be like, oh, what are you doing on your personal, this is a work related, guys, I'm not work related.
Of course it is.
But let's say I want to open up
improving the
personal.
workflow.
Yeah, exactly. But if I want to open up something personal, I'll go back to the script and I say like, okay, I'm going to go to the Gentoo wiki. That's a little bit personal, right? Like that's a deep dive. So there it is. I'm on the Gentoo wiki. It blind everybody's screen, flashbang warning. But yeah, it's very like, it opens it in my work browser and or my personal browser. And I'm never going to go to this browser when I'm at work, right? I know it's on 3, so I'll never hit that button. I'm always on 2, right? So it's like, that's just one kind of way to make dmenu sick, like really sick, I think, right? So it's like finding ways to make dmenu work for you is like another rabbit hole of Linux that I think is just, DistroTube did it too. He did a lot of this stuff too. So it's like really cool. Yeah. I do have a couple more things. Like I've got tmux sessions. You use tmux a lot, right?
Yeah. Well, I used it in the past, but now I have migrated away from tmux because
really,
yeah, a lot of my videos are tmux related. But Kitty, the Kitty guy, I had an interview with him, and I told him, hey, when are we gonna get tmux sessions, or when are we gonna get sessions in Kitty? And then a few days ago, I don't know, a few weeks ago, he sent me an email. Hey, you wanted me to let you know when Kitty sessions were available, and I was like, damn. And I have been trying them. I have been setting them up. I understand, the downside is that if I ever switch away from Kitty to another terminal, I have to learn all of the keybinds related to that terminal, all of how it works. And tmux allowed me to use any terminal. That didn't matter which one it was. My config was always the same. But I've been using Kitty and I'm not using tmux anymore. But yeah, I'm a huge tmux fan.
Well, in Kitty sessions, I mean, it's similar, right? You can open a session from a server, and then like you can just detach it, or no?
No. You would
Okay.
have to use tmux there. So you install tmux on the server. Oh yeah, you would have to run
Yeah.
tmux. Yep.
So that's what I use this script for. It's like, I don't know if you saw the Primeagen's video that you're like kind of emulating, and he has that sessionizer script
yeah.
where he,
Yeah. That's what I do in Kitty now, using
Yeah.
basically the tmux sessionizer, but with Kitty. But I only use it for my local sessions, right? Just to switch between my projects, basically.
yeah, I think like I have his script, but it's a little bit different. If I ever want to open up a project in my repo, it's in my repos folder, I'll just run like super FF, and it's agnostic to like what I'm in, where I'm in. I don't have to be in a terminal. I can just run it from here. Let's say I want to like, go to the dmenu scripts repo, or let's say I want to go back to the 20 by the way repo.
How do you configure that leader FF? Like, what is intercepting your keyboard to get that message? Like, is it space FF?
No, this is, it's not leader FF. It's super FF. Sorry.
Oh,
it's a DW unbind.
Oh, okay.
So it'd be like
Got it.
it'd be like
Okay.
a keybind for Yabai. Yeah.
Okay.
But then like if I want to go like into a different session and like create a new one, maybe let's say I want to say Linkarzu. Let's say I create a new session, Linkarzu, interview prep. Can't type interview prep. Boom, puts me into another session immediately, and then I don't have to worry about where I was. I can just go straight back to. I want to go back to the 20 by the way one. I can just go right back there. You know what I mean? So it's very fast, just like the FCF script, but it doesn't rely on you being in a terminal. You know what I mean? It's just all done with dmenu.
Yeah.
So.
The way that I do that, let me just switch to my screen real quick. You notice I'm in my daily notes session. This is a Kitty session now, right?
Yeah.
And it has like a way to look at your different sessions. This is Kitty, just the Kitty stuff. But the way that I do it is to switch to my projects real fast. If I want to go to my dot files, it's just this shortcut. And I'm here, I'm in my dots, right? Or if I want to go to my notes, it's a different workspace, we could say. And, I'm there in my notes. Or if I want to go back here, or if I want to go back to my notes, that's the way that I use, Starcraft, like you said, a shortcut for every repo. And there's people, I hear that a lot in my comments, but you have to learn a lot of shortcuts. And I'm like, but what, are you 5 years old? Can you just memorize 100 shortcuts? Is that not normal?
Yeah.
What do you think, Tony? Can you memorize 100 shortcuts or not?
I think I definitely can. I mean, I played World of Warcraft, and you have to learn like 40 different spell keybinds and like how to like target everybody else with them and stuff. And my thing is like this, for those comments, like I'd never been a negative person until I started a YouTube channel. And I get a comment from somebody saying something like, I don't even want to give oxygen to the comment, but I got a negative comment from somebody, right? And I just replied to him saying like, hey, I think Mr. Beast's channel is probably something more suitable for you. It matches your intelligence a little bit better.
Oh man.
And I just I kind of felt bad. I'm like, why am I being negative to this person? I've never been a negative person, So, but it's just YouTube comments kind of bring that out of you. You know what I mean? So.
Okay, let's go on with your demo. Sorry.
Well, that's it. No, I was just going to cover those main things. Basically the Nix shell. I just kind of show you a little bit why I think Nix is like really good, and then like a little bit about dmenu, and I think we could talk about dmenu like a little bit more off stream, because I think I can help you like set up a bookmark script that's something for you that you could maybe work with Raycast.
I have thought about that, but you know what the problem is? That I have my bookmarks. Let me just see what I have here, because I don't want to.
Yeah, don't leak any present. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
None of those are real. I'm on a VM. I can't just show out like my actual bookmarks. You know what I mean?
Let me switch here to no see. I have a folder. Okay, here. So look at this. This is my bookmarks in Raycast, right? This is just another collection. Look at the name. So. They are stored in the cloud on this tool that is called Raindrop. So the cool thing about it is that I have the Raindrop application installed on my iPhone. So when I need to go to a page on my iPhone, it's a pain in the ass, because I don't have, if I do it in the menu, I thought about it and I was like, man, I'll do this. But then I thought more about it and I was like, but I won't be able to use my bookmarks on the phone. So, I'll have to stick to this, I think.
Yeah, if you're in the ecosystem of like iPhone, tablet, like all that stuff, iPad, like it's not going to work for you.
Yeah.
But if it's just for your computer, it's like really good. And like there's a lot of things you can do with dmenu that are like kind of surprising that it's a fun thing to just think about how can I make something in dmenu, you know?
There is something that I want to do with the menu. For example, notice that I'm gonna type a shortcut here, right?
Mhm.
Hold on, because Kitty is going to upgrade. So I'm gonna type here ST, and it's gonna bring this FCF menu. And I can set up OBS, for example. If I click here, I'm just going to set up my OBS, like how many guests. It's just gonna set everything up for me, all my scenes and all that stuff, right? Or if I wanna change the color scheme as well, where is it? It's this one. Hold on. Was it SC? No, I don't remember. But I have a few of these that I can run. But instead of doing it the way that I'm doing it right now, I could do it with the menu, basically, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of ways you can do it with dmenu. I think it's such a powerful program, you know, and it's super minimal, so you can extend it however you want and build it however you want. So it's pretty fun to work with.
And it looks amazing. Okay, so you have to run, right?
Yeah, I got to balance in about 2 minutes, but yeah, I mean, if I once again, I really appreciate you having me on, and it's been fun to just kind of chat with you here and there behind the scenes and stuff. It's been pretty cool, and the whole YouTube thing.
Let's do one of these again in the future. I would like to do one. I'm gonna talk to Sylvan and Remisk, and let's think about something. We can do like a collab, the four of us. Let's find the topic, talk about it. So Tony, thank you very much. Really appreciate it, man. Just before you go, I just want to thank the CEO, web23.com, because I have members. So I just have to say that on every video. It's part of the contract or part of the agreements that we have.
For sure.
Any final words before?
No, I just want to say again, thanks for having me on, and it's been a pleasure talking to you, man. And if you guys out there are watching and you're interested in free and open source software, look into it. It's a beautiful thing, and it's a life-changing thing. You know what I mean? So there you go.
Amazing, Tony. Thank you, man. Talk to you.
All right, man. We'll talk soon. Have a good one.